And thanks, Bill. And I'm excited about our speaker tonight. This is going to be a different, a break from our normal meetings. We're not going to have a business meeting at all. We'll continue with our business meeting process next month. So I'm pleased that you're all here, and thank you. Let's see who else is here. We got some more people. All right. Fennell, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about Charlena Jones's campaign. We're just a couple minutes of where she is right now.
Yeah, Bill sent out a really nice note today. So Bill, I thought you might want to say what you said today about Charlena, which I thought was good.
What did I say?
Okay, I will tell you what Bill said. So let me just find it. But while I'm looking for it, I'll just say that Charlena Jones is the candidate for House District 100. We are really, really excited to have her. I would say she's a small business owner. She was a former chair of the school board. Now she is a member at large. She has a daughter who's on her way to Norfolk State University. I would say that she has the priorities that she's talked about, which is clean air, clean water, minimum wage, and workforce housing, among the other issues that Democrats care about. So anyway, that's Charlena. I know I saw Jean just pop in. And I think
education, for sure.
Oh, did I say education? Education. So I think she's going to be a really great candidate for us. And of course, she's already started to meet with the folks in Virginia Beach as well, has a solid kitchen cabinet. We're looking for her field plan next week, and we're pretty excited.
Good. Okay, yes, we are excited about having her. All right, well, I see that Jean Rossi has joined us. So I think we'll get started.
Can I do my announcement?
Oh, who was? Oh, we're doing announcements at the end after Jean.
All right.
You definitely. Oh, absolutely. You definitely can.
Oh, I don't care if you do announcements.
Okay. All right, Jean. We'll do announcements first, so everybody gets them, and then we'll.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, for the first thing, before you go on, Melody, I do want to announce that I heard today from a woman named Missy Cotter Smazel, who lives in Chesapeake. She is going to be running for the 2nd District Democratic congressional seat in 2024. And I'm very excited that we have a candidate. I spent just a little bit of time on the phone with her today. I'm going to talk with her in more detail probably next week, and then hopefully she can come to our August meeting, or even she's planning to come to our barbecue. So I'm excited about that.
What's her name, please? Linda, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
Missy, M-I-S-S-Y, Cotter, spelled like it sounds. Smazel is S-M-A-S-A-L. Okay. So Melody, I know you're just raring to go here.
Yes, it's my favorite thing to do is shake money out of people. So we are planning to conduct our teacher supply drive once again this year for the public school teachers in Northampton County. And you guys were amazing last year with your neighbors and relatives and whoever else. We got fabulous donations. The teachers were thrilled. It just was quite heartwarming to see them accepting their supplies that we were giving them. So I'd like you to please, the people you spoke to last year, ask them to donate again and kick in a little extra. You can write checks to the Northampton County Democratic Committee, NCDC, and just put that it's for the teacher supply drive. Bring donations to the barbecue or send checks in. So please, let's make it a wonderful success like it was last year. All right.
Melody, you're gonna have a list of the supplies and we're right, that would work best for the teachers at the beginning of the year, right? You're gonna create a list. And we're hoping that Sabrina Parker will also help. She did a great job last year because of her wonderful connections with the Northampton schools. Okay, one more quick thing. Our annual barbecue will be on Saturday, August 19th. It will be 6 to 8, and we should have some exciting guests. I know Fennell is hoping to get someone who would be very, very wonderful to have. I have invited Elaine Luria. I don't know yet whether she's going to come or not. It's usually a wonderful event. We have lots of people, lots of Democrats, and it's a great way for everybody to get their energy up before the fall campaign, before we get started with our getting out the vote stuff. So we are going to ask those of you who are committee members to bring desserts this time. Not all of you are committee members, so you don't have to feel obligated to do that. But we will come back at you about that probably at the August meeting, which will be the first Tuesday in August. Any questions about any of these? Okay. All right. So now, Jean, you're going to be on in just a minute after I tell everybody all about you.
Oh, good.
So it's my wonderful pleasure to welcome back to the shore my friend Jean Rossi, who has been a frequent visitor to the speaker's podium here on the shore. Jean has titled his remarks today, "Loose Lips Sink Ships. Trump is in trouble." So just a little background. In 1989, Jean began his distinguished 27-year career with the United States Justice Department. In his years with the Justice Department, Jean was a prolific litigator with over 110 federal trials, 90 of them jury trials, in the United States District Court and bankruptcy courts, including a remarkable 65 felony jury trials, a record for the Alexandria Division, if not for the entire Eastern District. One of his most notable cases was Operation Cotton Candy, the largest opioid investigation in Department of Justice history, with more than 200 convictions of doctors, pharmacists, nurses, patients, and dealers. This operation was the basis for a 2016 Hollywood documentary, Dr. Feelgood. Jean has received many awards and commendations for his courtroom skills and was often in the vanguard of important criminal justice issues, including his leadership role in an innovative second chance drug court, which employed novel approaches to addressing critical reentry issues such as addiction, mental health, recidivism, and employment. He retired from the Justice Department in 2016 and began a run for Virginia Lieutenant Governor in 2017. And he's currently a criminal defense attorney with the national law firm of Carlton Fields based in Washington. He lives in Alexandria with his wife, who he lovingly calls the Great Diane. And they have 3 children. Jean is a sought-after teacher and speaker and a frequent legal commentator and trial analyst. He's often quoted in articles and has appeared on many cable and radio shows, including MSNBC, Fox, Law and Crime Network, CNN, Hill TV, and several others. And then it is now my pleasure to welcome Jean to the podium.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, even though it's Zoom. I hope you can hear me. The first time I came down to Northampton, it was at that, it was a Saturday morning, Linda, and a shout out to Linda. She's my BFF. It was a great breakfast place. I forget where it was. It was a restaurant.
11 only up in the
And at that time, I think that was 2018. I was representing I was representing Stormy Daniels' former attorney, not Michael Avenatti. It's the one that he sued my attorney. His name's Keith Davidson. It's all public record. But loose lips sink ships. What I want to talk about is probably the most corrupt, not probably, beyond a reasonable doubt. Donald Trump is the most corrupt president, the most corrupt politician we will ever have. And there's a lot of people right behind him. Huey Long, Edwin Edwards, Richard Nixon. What Richard Nixon did is small potatoes to what Donald Trump has done over the years. And so I call it loose lips sink ships because this theme of today applies to the charges that he's facing. So let me just go through the legs on this Trump criminal enterprise. Here's one leg, the Stormy Daniels indictment. Now that indictment was brought in the Manhattan DA's office or the grand jury from that office. And I got to be very blunt. That indictment is a little weak. I think the average voter, the average citizen, it's a big yawn. I wouldn't call it a big yawn, but I think Alvin Bragg dropped the ball by indicting Donald Trump on the Stormy Daniels, Karen McDougal saga. And for those who may know it or may have forgotten it, in late October of 2016, right before the election, right around the time that Jim Comey on October 28th issued that letter about Hillary that arguably cost her the election. But around the same time, Comey's sending out his letter bashing Hillary indirectly. That was about 10 days before the election. What was Donald Trump doing? Donald Trump was committing a crime, allegedly. And here's the crime. He had a tryst, a one-night stand, if you will, with Stormy Daniels. And this was way back in 2007 or 8. I don't make up the facts, okay? He was at some conference, I think, in Idaho, Utah, who knows? It was in a Western state. And he saw Stormy, was attracted. And with Donald Trump, that's the beginning of the end. The rest is history, as they say. E. Jean Carroll, same thing. So he had consensual sex with Stormy Daniels. You're saying, okay, where's the crime? Fast forward to late October 2016. Here's the crime. Donald Trump authorized, directed, and told Michael Cohen to pay Stormy Daniels $150,000 to keep her quiet. It's called catch and kill. You get the story, you kill it, and then you move on. And what Michael Cohen did is he took out a false, fraudulent bank loan, did not tell the bank the purpose of the loan, and the purpose of the loan was a HELOC, I think, on his house, to pay $150,000 to Stormy to keep her quiet. And how do I know that? My client was the one who was at the end of a wire of $150,000. I was representing him, not during that time. So there's bank fraud. Second crime is more important when it comes to Trump. He violated the election laws. How so? Because that was an in-kind, indirect contribution to him It clearly benefited his election, kept that story quiet at a time when Hillary was fighting off that Comey letter. Perfect timing. And Donald Trump violated the federal election laws by not including that in-kind contribution of $150,000 to keep her quiet. And the other thing is, it violated the cap on federal contributions. You can only give so much to a federal election. So that's the Stormy Daniels saga. And then he also had a non-disclosure agreement with Karen Dougal. That was also an in-kind contribution. I forget how that was paid, but she got money for keeping quiet. She had a torrid 10-month affair with Donald Trump at a time when Melania was pregnant with Barron. I don't make up the facts. This is who he is. So how does Alvin Bragg get involved? And this is why I consider that one leg of the Trump criminal enterprise stool a little weak. On the corporate returns of Trump Organization, they listed as a deduction legal fees to Michael Cohen, the $150,000. They called it legal fees that they were paying him. And this is important. Over the months that Trump was paying him monthly, I forget how much it was, but they eventually paid him off, Michael Cohen. And here's the other thing that happened. They didn't pay him $150,000. They paid Michael Cohen $400,000. Why? So that Michael Cohen would have enough money to pay the taxes on his consulting fees, which the net would be $150,000. So you got tax problems there. But Bragg is focusing on the corporate return. They're claiming legal fees paid to Cohen as an ordinary and necessary business expense of the Trump org. That's the crime. That's the crime. And they have several counts of that. I do want to say this. The last check to pay off Michael Cohen was August of 2017. And the evidence would show that Donald Trump signed that check. He filled it out and he wrote it in his office right off the Oval Office. So as of August 2017, in the White House, he is arguably signing a check that is violating federal law for elections and arguably for taxes. Alvin Bragg's indictment is focusing on state crimes. So where does loose lips come in? In September of 2016, Michael Cohen recorded a conversation he had with Trump in Trump's office before he got elected. And the recording is, Mr. Trump, do you want me to write the check? Do you want me to pay David Pecker of National Enquirer, who had this story? Do we want to pay David Pecker to keep the Stormy Daniels story quiet? And he says, yes, but I want you to pay in cash, not check. So that recording is going to be used in the Alvin Bragg trial, that Trump knew that what he was doing by saying pay in cash, he knew that was to avoid reporting laws. So that's the loose lips sequence 1. Where does the loose lips sequence 2 come from? Well, the second leg on this criminal enterprise stool of Trump, the second leg, and it's another indictment, is probably going to come from the Fulton County DA's office. Okay? And what's that all about? That indictment will focus on the famous phone call that Trump made to the Secretary of State of Georgia. I keep forgetting his name, Rothsberger. I don't know his name offhand. but there's that call, I think you've all heard it, of, hey, this is Donald Trump. All we need is 11,180 votes. That's nothing. You can find them. Go back and get some, basically. So loose lips sink ships. That tape is probably going to be exhibit 1 in the trial against Donald Trump because he can't help himself. He just can't help himself. And it's not a leg of the stool, but I just thought of this. About 2 weeks ago, I think some of you, many of you saw that Trump had an interview with Brett Baier on Fox. And he was just throwing out inculpatory statements that are gonna help Jack Smith on the third leg of the stool. Let's get to that. Okay. The Georgia one is election fraud. He's trying to get a state elected official to just find votes out of thin air. And I don't know what the charges are going to be, but there's probably 1 or 2 statutes he violated, probably federal too, but it's going to be state indictment. Let's focus on the third leg of the criminal enterprise of Donald Trump. And this is a big one. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, Linda, can you see it? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, what's this one? This one's the big enchilada. Okay. Put avocado on it. Put cream cheese. Put a sour cream. Put hot sauce on it. This one's the real deal. And here's why this third leg, which also involves the theme loose lips, this third leg is money. And when I mean money, if a prosecutor doesn't convict Donald Trump of this indictment or some counts in it, he or she should give up their bar license. Okay. Now, what's this third leg? This is the indictment that was filed on June 8th of this year in the Fort Pierce Division of the Southern District of Florida. And that's the courthouse where Judge Aileen, not Eileen, but Judge Aileen Cannon, who's a full-throated Trumpster, I might add. I hope she does the right thing. This is where the case will be tried. And let me just summarize this indictment. This indictment involves a conspiracy with his valet, his bagman, Walter Nauta. He's the aide de camp that is always to the right hand of Trump when he goes into a restaurant and he's handing out hats and this and that. Walter Nauta is the one who collects things that the people give to Trump, and they call him the valet, the bagman. He's a security guy. But he and Donald Trump are conspiring to do what? They're conspiring to conceal documents that should not be in the hands of Donald Trump. They should be in hands of the National Archives. That's point one. Point two, he's not just concealing and possessing documents that he shouldn't be entitled to. Those documents include top secret SCI. Any document that has top secret SCI on it, it's the highest level of national security documents. He's got the gold standard. He had several of those that he literally took from the White House and didn't return. Now, you may want to say, well, why aren't they going after Hillary? Why aren't they going after Pence? Why aren't they going after Biden? They did the same thing. Here's why. if you do it by accident, if you do it by carelessness, if you do it by mistake, and there's no criminal intent, it's extremely hard for a prosecutor to go to trial on that. You're going to lose. And for Hillary, who had a server, stupidly, for Pence, who had a few documents, stupidly, and for President Biden, stupidly, had documents in his office near the White House when he was teaching, and also at his house in a garage. Stupid. But that is not a crime, being stupid. So that's how they're different. The second big reason is from January 21st or 20th at noon, when Trump left the White House, for a year and several months, the National Archives and the Department of Justice were begging Trump, give us back these documents that we know you have. Return them. You're not supposed to have them. Return them, please. Pretty please, with sugar on top. So for a year and 3 months, they are treating him with kid gloves. And then in April or May of last year, they issued a grand jury subpoena to Donald Trump. And as a former federal prosecutor, now a defense attorney, when you get a grand jury subpoena, you are going to be sweating bullets if it's you or your client, because it's a grand jury subpoena. It's not a civil subpoena that you can kind of blow off. Some people do. It's a grand jury. And when you present evidence to a judge that they're not complying with a grand jury subpoena, that's a big deal. And I can just tell you, ask Richard Nixon when they served the grand jury subpoena to get his tapes. That went to the Supreme Court. That's a big deal. So what did Sir Donald do when he got the grand jury subpoena, according to this indictment? He allegedly lied to one or two attorneys that I don't have anything. I've given you everything. They're just fishing. We don't have anything, either in Mar-a-Lago or up in Bedminster. We don't have anything. That allegedly was a big fat lie. And here's what's going to happen at trial to prove that big fat lie. One or two of his attorneys, Evan Corcoran, I worked with him. He's very honest. He got caught up in this whole vortex of Trump world, and he's out of it now. But Trump tried to spin him, play him like a fiddle, and there's another attorney that he tried to play like a fiddle, because that's what Trump does. And Michael Cohen's right about this. I don't know if many of you watch Breaking Bad, but I binged watched it. Breaking Bad's about a guy, making meth and all that. Very violent, by the way. But there's a line in that movie when the main character is talking to his flunky, and the flunky says, "You don't want a criminal lawyer, you want a criminal lawyer." In other words, you don't want a lawyer that represents people accused of crimes, me. You want someone who himself is a criminal, all right? So Trump tries to utilize or persuade or hoodwink his attorneys into becoming criminals. He did it with Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen knew it was a crime what he was doing. Michael Cohen knew that when he got that HELOC in $150,000, he knew it was illegal. And he pleaded guilty to that in the Southern District of New York. Well, Trump was trying to get Evan Corcoran and this other attorney to become criminal defense attorneys. Well, guess what? It backfired. So, where do loose slips sink ships come in? If you go to page 2, paragraph 6 of this indictment. And we've heard we've heard a copy of that tape played over the last couple of weeks. I know Maddow's played it, Ari Melber, even Fox probably has played it. But there's a tape recording of this paragraph 6. And in it, the indictment describes, in the tape recording that has been played in the last couple of weeks, Trump has top secret plans of attack of Iraq. And he's floating it around and he's talking to it to people who aren't cleared. So he is disseminating it. He's not handing it to them, but he is talking about top secret SCI, secured compartmented information, the gold standard. He's talking about it to people who aren't cleared. Not only are they not cleared, there is campaign aides and they're laughing. And it's an author who's trying to write a book for Mark Meadows, who I might add will be a key witness, I predict, in this trial in Fort Pierce, Florida. So where did the loose lips come? He's basically saying on this tape and in this paragraph, I know it's classified. I know I'm not supposed to have this, and I'm not supposed to tell you. You can't get any much better than that as a prosecutor when you have a recording of the defendant admitting all the elements of a crime. Because it's not just possession they charged him with. They may charge him or have evidence that he disseminated it. Now, here's the other part of this indictment. There are many counts. There's obstruction. There's possessing these documents. You may have seen they have photos of the boxes on the stage. And this is my favorite. There's a photo. I don't know about you guys, but in my bathroom, I don't keep like tax records, wills, account information. I don't put that right next to my toilet. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I don't put sensitive information just in boxes around my toilet. But if you're Donald Trump, you got a gold toilet. So you want to put your stuff near your gold toilet. That's Donald Trump. But there's a photo in this indictment. I can't find it, Linda, but it's there. Hold on. I thought I had it. It's the weirdest thing you ever. It's just strange. It's strange. Now that's in Mar-a-Lago. Okay. So the loose lip sink ships has infected the Stormy case. It's infected the Georgia case that we will probably see an indictment in late July, early August state. And it's infected the Jack Smith case that's going to trial. We may not know when it's going to go to trial. It likely will not go this year. There's a good chance, folks, sadly, that the trial may not be till after the election. A decent chance. It may be before it. It depends on how much Trump appointee and Trump devotee Aileen Cannon wants to follow the law and move with alacrity. If she doesn't do that, then we probably won't have a trial until after the election. All right. Now, there's a fourth leg to this Trump stool that is percolating, and it's called the January 6th investigation. Now, I predict by August or September, maybe early October, you're going to have an indictment in D.C. that's going to charge possibly Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, possibly, other people in the White House. I don't know if the Justice Department has the guts to charge Donald Trump for crimes related to January 6th, other than that Georgia call is being state. And what would be what would be the crimes that Donald Trump could be charged with if Gene Rossi were the prosecutor? Okay, these are easy. Conspiracy to commit sedition, conspiracy to commit insurrection. And how was he involved in that? One, in the days leading up, he knew that the big lie was a big lie. And he knew that he had followers that would walk over hot coals and swallow crushed glass to redeem themselves of the big lie. They had that rally on January 6th. Trump says there were 100,000 people there, or probably 15,000. Okay. By the way, Donald Trump has a real problem with arithmetic. Okay. Remember his inauguration? He said his crowd was bigger than Obama's. Okay. I went to Obama's 2008 inauguration. It had over 1 million people. It was unbelievable. Okay. You couldn't find a place to even stand within a mile of the mall. That's an inauguration with a lot of people. At his inauguration, you had white, they put the white on the ground. It was a lot of white, this, that, and the other. Okay, so they didn't have 1 million people. They maybe had 200,000. I'll give them 250. He gave a speech down in South Carolina, I guess, a couple days ago. And he said it was 75,000 people there. Was there 10 to 15? Yeah, I'll give him that, but not 75,000. Okay, so let's go to his rally. On January 6th at noon, Donald Trump gave an inflammatory speech that had the word fight 20 times. And there were people in the audience, and one of those people in the audience was a client I represented. It's all public. His name's William Isaac, 21-year-old kid with ASD. And when he heard that phrase 20 times, this kid who was just going to the rally and maybe go to a museum or going someplace, he had no intention of going to the Capitol. He walked to the Capitol because he heard the word fight 20 times. He went into the Capitol. He yelled and screamed, and he got charged and convicted. My trial was February and March, and sadly, he was convicted. He's going to be sentenced. All right. A lot of people got caught up in that rhetoric of Donald Trump. So let's go back to sedition and insurrection. They are two separate crimes, and they're very similar, but each one would involve stopping the certification of the electoral vote. So he should be indicted on that because he took steps before January 6th. At his speech, he took steps to encourage the violence. And then he took steps after, folks. He took steps not to mitigate what was going on. All right? Remember, he gave a thing about I love you and this, that. And the witnesses will say he was gleeful that our Capitol police were getting attacked. And I did a tour of the Capitol to prepare for trial. And a lot of people don't know this. The certified ballots are literally put in lock boxes. But as you walk up the west side of the Capitol, the west side is the one that faces the Lincoln. As you walk up the west side of the Capitol, to the left is the Senate chamber. And there's a room on the first floor of the Senate chamber with windows. And in that room, there are the lock boxes for the certified ballots. And when the senators are ready, they inspect them and this, that, and the other thing. Well, those people that stormed the Capitol, my guy was on the east side facing the Supreme Court. The people on the west side were the ones that were beating the heck out of cops, hitting people with their breaking windows. They broke the windows into that room in the Senate floor, Senate chamber, or near it, that had the ballots. That's how close they came to stopping the certification. And I got to do a shout out to Mike Pence. I have to. I have to do a shout out to Mike Pence, because he will not be the Republican nominee because he did the right thing. He followed the Constitution. He didn't listen to all those nuts that Trump was listening to. And when Trump was listening to those nuts, he knew what they were saying was total baloney. He knew it was total baloney. But to Mike Pence's credit, I got to give him credit. Not going to vote for him, but I got to give him credit. He refused the entreaties and the vilification from Trump, hang Mike Pence, not to certify. So I got to compliment him for that. And I think history is going to judge him very positively when it comes to that moment. Because they wanted to kill him. Those people in the crowd wanted to kill him. So my last comment on this is, because I'm going a little over time, my last comment is there could be 4 legs on the Donald Trump criminal enterprise stool. They all have variations of loose lips sink ships. The January 6th case, the loose lips tapes, recordings are a mile long. He made comments that are a prosecutor's dream. When he made those video clips, telling them really not to go home. When he was making comments in interviews about his mind and what he was thinking. Okay, I would play that at the trial. But it goes back to what I said a couple moments ago. I don't think the Justice Department has the energy, the passion, and the courage to indict the president in another indictment. I think they're going to stick to this one in Fort Pierce and call it a day. So that's my loose lips sink ships. I have a client involved in 2 of them, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Yes, let's have some questions.
Okay, Fernald says Gene is having way too much fun. You know what I have fun doing? I have fun bashing Donald Trump. Let me repeat that. I have fun bashing him. And I finished a 6-week jury trial in DC. I lost, but I proudly represented William Isaac because I think he was overcharged. And
Who was it you represented again?
William Isaacs, ISAACS, to look him up. And the reason I enjoyed that case is that in my opening and closing, I eviscerated Donald Trump. I cut his private parts off rhetorically. And it was the most professionally rewarding experience of my life, even though I lost. And that jury was silent. That jury was just enthralled because they knew I was right. And they knew I obviously was not a fan. I think I did say I'm not a fan of him. But I said, my client is sitting in that chair because he listened, he followed, and he loved Donald Trump. And when Trump said, go fight 20 times, he couldn't resist. And he went to the Capitol, and sadly, he broke the law in the eyes of the jury. And I respect their verdict. I don't agree with it, but I respect their verdict.
So this is the young man who has Asperger's syndrome.
He does. And there were a couple moments during the trial in front of the jury where I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I have to plead ignorance. Before I really got involved in this trial, I was not fully aware of ASD. They don't use Asperger's anymore as a term. It's an autistic spectrum disorder.
Right.
They got rid of Asperger's. But there are 3 levels, and this is the sad part. There are 3 levels. William has 2 siblings. This came out of trial. 2 siblings. One's in a group home because he's level 3. William is high 1, should be in 2, and his youngest brother possibly has ASD. And this, when he was in high school, this broke my heart. He was 21 when he was at the Capitol. This was so sad. When he graduated from high school, he said no one would sign his yearbook. No one would sign his yearbook. And I asked him why. And he said, because I had ASD. And they thought I was weird. And this is another sad thing. He tried to join the military. He went to boot camp for 8 weeks. And in the 7th week, they discharged him because of ASD. And this happened about a year and a half before January 6th. So what happened was he went into deep depression, and his aunt, who's certifiably crazy, persuaded him to become a Trump follower and go to the Capitol on January 6th. And when I say she's certifiably crazy, this is at trial. William took the stand, and I'm not making up the facts. He said, my aunt was a big Trumpster, and she tried to get me involved. And she questioned whether the earth was round. And he said to the jury, that in itself is a form of insanity. And this aunt was like his guardian angel because his father passed away of an overdose in 2019. So he had this vacuum emotionally. His aunt entered. Earth's not really round, it's flat. Trump's great. Big lie. He goes to the Capitol, and the rest is history. That's why I passionately defended him, because I kind of said, actually, I did say that it shouldn't be William sitting at the council's table. It should be the president of the United States.
Definitely.
And I am right on that. But I don't think the Justice Department, they got too much on their plate. They got too much on their plate. So
It looks like Fennell has a question.
I do. I have a question for you, Gene.
Chris, I love that you're loving me.
I do indeed. So here's my question. It's sort of 2. So the first one is, when you were part of this, because you tried this case, I'm wondering what you think about the folks who support Trump, because it feels to me like the folks who we would expect to have good critical thinking skills, that because they support Trump still, it's probably really confusing for folks who are still supporting him wholeheartedly, because they have people who you would think are good thinkers and they're still supporting him. And my second part to that, even if he's like fully indicted and all that stuff, do you think that he's still going to run?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here's why. Well, let me answer your first question. Okay. My client does not like Donald Trump anymore. Okay. He realized that it was all Kool-Aid. And it was the big lie was a big lie. And he now realizes I swallowed the Kool-Aid, and I listened to my crazy aunt. I swallowed the Kool-Aid, and look what it got me. I do not like comparisons to Hitler. I don't. But I will say this, I'll make a comparison to Mussolini because I'm Italian. There were people that hated Mussolini, people that thought he was the worst thing in the world for Italy. He was corrupt. But why did they continue to support Mussolini? There are 4 reasons why. FEAR. And these people that are supporting Trump through thick and thin, from the highest levels of elected office to the lowest levels of humanity, the reason they're supporting him is in part fear, in large part fear, because they know, especially the politicians, if they say Trump is baloney, Trump is corrupt, when they go home to their deep red districts, they're going to get death threats. They're going to be hassled wherever they go. Look at Lindsey Graham. What did he say on January 6th, that coward? He said, I've had enough. This is it. I can't take anymore. Then when he went to Washington National Airport, okay, for those who live in the DMV, I still call it Washington National Airport. When he went to get on his flight, he was being harassed by Trump people. So see, he saw the writing on the wall that if he doesn't support Trump in South Carolina, he could get harmed, if not killed. Because these people are crazy. They're violent. They are willing to commit crimes to support Donald Trump. Now, your second question, Fanal, help me. What was your second question? I can
Is
only.
he going to run? Is he going to run regardless?
I'm not laughing at you. Yes. And here's why. Not only is the most corrupt human being ever as a politician, there is nobody that is more narcissistic than Donald Trump. And when I say narcissistic, he makes Louis XIV look compassionate. It's always about him. And he knows that if he's reelected president again, and folks, if you don't take it up a notch, if you don't put in the extra hours on weekdays and weekends, in the period between July and November of next year, if you don't do that, then I'm going to be coming after you. Because we can't do what we did in 2016. Oh, she's going to win. She's going to win. No, we can't say, oh, he's going to lose. Nobody's going to vote for him. We got to assume he will win. I want you to have fear that he will win. But in his narcissistic mind, here's what he's thinking. I am going to beat Joe Biden. I will be reelected. I'll become the 47th president, and I'm going to give a New Jersey hello, the middle finger, to everybody. And once I'm president, I'm going to pardon myself. Now, he can't pardon Georgia. He'll try, but he can't pardon Georgia. He can pardon himself on the Fort Pierce Federal. He can pardon himself. He can't pardon Bragg, but at least he can pardon himself on the Jack Smith. And if he's convicted of the other 2, so what? This is a fact. There are only 3 qualifications to be president of the United States. Drum roll. Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation. Remember they were doing the drum roll? I like Christmas Vacation. What can I tell you? Does anybody know what I'm referring to?
Yes.
No? Okay. All right, here's the drum roll. You got to be age 55. He's obviously that. You have to have been born in the United States, and you have to have lived in the United States 14 years. So he's got all that. Okay. There's nothing to prevent a person convicted of a felony from being president. As a matter of fact, go back to 1920. Eugene Debs was the socialist candidate of the United States. He ran for president a couple times. But in 1920, where was Eugene Debs on election day? He was serving prison time in federal prison, I think federal, and he got a bunch of votes, maybe 2%. So you can run if you're a convicted felon. Now, can the House and the Senate, can the House impeach, indict, and then try him in the Senate because they don't want him in office? That's academically possible, but I don't think it would happen. And two, you're not going to get enough senators. You need 2/3, 66. You need 67 votes, 66 votes to remove somebody from office. So now, here's the other alternative. If Trump, and this gets to the crazy people that are in the Republican Party now, if Trump is not elected or another Republican is elected, I'm just going to pick Ron DeSantis. Okay. Hey, folks, his name is pronounced DeSantis. FYI. If Ron DeSantis is elected president, he'd probably pardon Trump for the federal crime. Can't do it for the state. So there you go for now.
So I think that it'll be Youngkin. He'll run.
Say it again.
Youngkin,
You think he's going to run?
yeah.
I think there's a 60%, 70% chance he'll run because the field is flat and nobody's really gaining any traction. And listen, I supported Terry McAuliffe. I didn't support Glenn Youngkin, but I saw him on Caitlin Collins 2 nights ago. And he's tall, he's handsome, he's articulate. He doesn't come across as crazy. And when he's given a tough question, he never answers it.
That is true.
That is a dangerous candidate. But the most important thing is Republicans know they have to win some of the independents. Trump is poison. He's not going to win independents. And he's not going to win those suburban moms around Philadelphia, around Milwaukee, around Detroit, around Atlanta. Those women have written him off. They think he's disgusting, and he's never going to win them back. Okay, this E. Jean Carroll case and others, he's got too much baggage. And plus, he killed 300,000 people by the way he handled COVID. So he's not going to get independence back. Glenn Youngkin could. He could. Absolutely.
The age limit for president was 35.
I didn't hear the question.
I thought that the age limit for running for president was 35.
It was 35, yeah.
Okay.
What did I say?
I think you said 55.
No, it's age 35.
Okay.
Age 35. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it's 50, hey, you know what? If it is 55, he can still run. But it's 35.
Right. Okay.
And as a matter of fact, there's a Republican candidate, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's 37. One of the Republican candidates is 37.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. The judge.
And Yahoo, I guess, can run for president.
Okay.
So any more questions? We have time for at least one. Please. We don't want to.
Oh, Chris, can I answer Chris' question?
Yes.
Okay. Bill Clinton signed a law that changed the name of Washington National Airport to Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Okay. Most people call it Reagan Airport. I either call it DCA, which is the sticker they put on your luggage. And when I'm around my Republican friends, I'll call it Washington National Airport. It's my way of sticking it to the man. okay? But the official name is Ronald Reagan
Right.
Washington National Airport.
Yeah, I call it Washington National Airport too.
Do you say that in front of your Republican friends?
A little bit louder, yes.
And here's the thing. I have a lot of Republican friends, okay? I worked in the Justice Department. Prosecutors are generally conservative. And they hate Donald Trump.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there are a lot of people that absolutely despise the man. But it's that, going back to the FEAR, they're afraid of him. They are afraid. He's a bully. He's a bully. He's dangerous. That guy's dangerous. So, any other, pick Yelkin, he will run. He will run. Yeah.
So don't you, Jean, and we're getting into the political stuff here, which is great. Don't you think that the abortion issue could kill Lincoln, because he's really hard over?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. There are several great issues for the Democrats. Okay. The big negative is, okay, and I'm going to be very blunt with you folks. Okay. When I see Joe Biden speak, when I see him shaking the hand of a world leader, I mean, the age thing is sinking into me. It really is. And I'm going to support him. I'm not an ageist. I don't think that, just because you're 80 years old, but at his second inauguration, he's going to be 83. And, I'm 67. I know I look like I'm 49, Jack Benny's age, but he's going to be 82, 83. That's a big negative with a lot of people I talk to, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. But a lot of these Republicans that I know, they hate his guts, but in the end, they may vote for him. They may vote for him, which makes me sad. They don't like Biden. So they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Trump.
Yeah.
But let me get to the issues. The abortion is a winner. Just look at all the recent elections. The Republicans lost the midterms in major part because of the fervency of voters, women and men, about the attacks on the right to choose. Okay? And I just want to say this. When you go out and talk about how these bills are baloney, how they're going to prosecute people if they don't have an exception for rape or incest, okay, let's freeze frame that. The Republicans are saying we're going to allow abortions under 6 weeks, under 5 weeks for rape and incest. Okay, now you're a woman who's been raped. Okay, how do you invoke the exception? Do you write a prosecution memo? Do you write a memo to the prosecutor saying this is what happened? Bless me with the exception so I don't get put in jail? You are imposing on the victim of proving that they're a victim. That's what their laws do. They are imposing on victims to prove they're a victim so they can exercise their right to an abortion. That is absurd. That is absurd. And I could go off on this, but you're right. Youngkin's the 15th week. Whenever he gets the abortion question, look at his body language.
Oh, yeah.
He is very uncomfortable. He's very uncomfortable answering the abortion question. On Caitlin Collins, he was very uncomfortable. He didn't answer it. So he wouldn't answer whether 15 weeks or 6 weeks. He wouldn't answer that. Or I forget what he said, but it wasn't very satisfactory. Now in Virginia, I think it is 24 weeks. Correct me, folks.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. People have accepted that after a certain point, we should be concerned about making abortion so readily available. Now, Bill Clinton, I'm a huge Bill Clinton fan, warts and all, warts and all. But he had the best approach. Abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. And that the decision to have an abortion is between your doctor, your conscience, and your God. And the government should not be telling you how to make that decision. And he was the most articulate advocate for the right to choose, and his wife too, Hillary. But Duncan, oh my God, it's like, oh, he gets all wired up. Gets wired up. So that is his major Achilles heel. But here's the other thing. I think the gun issue is going to be a big one. The voters are in the Democrats' favor on that. And the last thing is this, and Jim Clyburn has talked about this a lot. The economy. We got to start talking about the accomplishments of Bidenomics and how this economy is in a ditch when he took office. And with the infrastructure bill that is now being used by the Republicans, even Marjorie Taylor Greene, when they get the pot of gold for jobs, Democrats got to talk about that. But it's what Bill Clinton said in '92. It's the economy, stupid. So Biden has to work hard on changing the view of the economy.
Right.
And part of that challenge is going to be inflation. So inflation could be a drag on that message. But I'm confident we're going to win in 2024. I was almost going to take 2016. But we got to work hard. We can't take anything for granted. No way, no how. And if any of you do, I'm coming after you.
All right. Well,
All right.
Gene, with that, let's all give Gene a virtual hand.
A golf club. Golf club.
Right.
I'm
Thank-
sorry. I went over. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you didn't. You are fine. Our meetings usually last longer than this. So we had a wonderful time. We thank you so much, and we're going to have you back.
I'm coming back, baby. I'm
Good.
back.
Good.
Now I'm going to do another road trip.
All right. Give our love to Diane, the great
Okay.
Diane.
Yeah. And the last thing I got to say this.
Okay.
You know, I firmly believe. I'm dating myself. Hubert Humphrey was the happy warrior, and he loved politics. Okay, and when you guys go out there door knocking, talking to people, show that you love politics and show that you're willing to listen to other people. You may not agree with them, but let's not be angry. Let's not be angry Democrats. We got to be positive, happy Democrats with challenges. But we got to be happy, and you're going to win more with honey than with vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're out there, you know, just be happy, try to present your points. And if people see that, they're going to say, you know what, those Democrats, I don't agree with them. But boy, they are sure having fun. And that's what you got to do is have fun. And this whole meeting is one of the ways we have fun. I love politics because where I hang out, we have fun. And if you're not having fun, move somewhere else.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. One of the things you can do to have fun is to listen to people when you're talking to them about the issues and about voting. Listen to them, and it is fun. That's the funnest piece, having a conversation. All right, thank you again. Thank you so much.
Be safe, everybody.
Same
Hi,
to you.
Jean.
Bye. Be safe. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna, unless anybody has a question or a comment, we're gonna end the meeting tonight. Our next meeting will be the first Tuesday in August, and I don't even have the date for that, but.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, thank you. And we will go from there, talking about our barbecue and some of the other things that we're gonna do to start the campaign season. So, again, thanks for being here. And we'll
Thanks
see-
for getting
Thank you,
him.
Linda.
He was a Great speaker.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome. He loves doing it, so.